Comedy Film Nerds Podcast.
Because the three billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. I was excited to see this movie. Frances McDormand, I really like her. So in the trailer,
it did look good. That was my second choice movie to watch.
It's decent. It just is a little uneven, and she's great. Sam Rockwell's great. Woody Harrelson's great. There's really good supporting people around.
Love Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, he's great. And in the trailer, you see her just running around swearing at everybody because she's mad because her daughter was killed and they're not doing anything about it. So the first part of the movie, it's great. They introduce it quick. You know exactly what's going down. And she's amazing. It's just running around. Shut the fuck up. Like she's great at that. And Sam Rockwell plays a great, just kind of idiot cop. And the movie starts out, and all the characters at first, I'm like, well, they're all a little two-dimensional. But then they spend decent time, showing everybody. And no one in the movie is perfect. Everyone is deeply, deeply flawed, which I was glad. I was glad to show that, because at first I was like, this seems really, it's getting really two-dimensional. But they introduced, this is a really heavy subject matter. Her daughter was raped and burned, right?
Oh my God.
So, but then they keep putting, there's all these like jokes in it. It just got really uneven. After a while, I was like, well, we don't need a joke here. They do like a really heavy scene, and you're like, wow. Like, I won't tell you exactly what happens, but there's a scene where she is remembering the last time she talked to her daughter, they have a bad fight. And she's just feeling, what she says is really brutal. And she just is, you're like, oh, that's why. One of the reasons why she's so angry. She's really mad at herself, But then, like, the middle of the movie spends a lot of time on all this extra stuff. So they introduce this thing. How come no one's investigated my daughter? This happened 7 months ago. What the hell's going on? So you're sort of led into this, like, oh, it's a little bit of a detective story. Like, yes, it's about her and how she deals with this and the town, and also the overall political message of this is happening to young women all over the place, and a lot of these crimes are unsolved. What the hell's going on, right? So that's all good, but then they go into a little too much, like almost these like tangential character things that's like, why aren't you're sort of already explaining who this person is. Why are we, like, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but I'm just like, let's fucking solve the crime. Are we gonna solve the crime? Or are we gonna fuck around here? And there were times when people were laughing in the theater, and my friend, we talked about it afterwards, and we were both sort of like, was it a script issue? Was it a director? Like,
Were they laughing at inappropriate times?
Kind of.
Or at the actual jokes in the...
Well, they were laughing at the actual jokes, but people were laughing at, I guess they were just taking the joke at face value and laughing at the joke. But
I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with putting in jokes in a tragic story. It almost helps tell your story because it's more watchable if there's funny moments in it. Like Life is Beautiful. Like, he got slammed for making light of, the concentration camps, but it's a great movie,
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't seen it, so I don't know how inappropriate the jokes were, but
I don't think that. I think this was, and I'm not saying they were inappropriate.
It just had a too strong of a tonal shift.
Well, yeah, it was just too uneven because part of me was like, you're introducing, and they're doing you're introducing me to a heavy scene. You're releasing this movie during Oscar time, so I'm like, okay, I'm on board. You want me to start, like, let's cry, let's do this, like, if that's what this movie is, and then. Boop, boop, and it's just
but
like...
sometimes when you're crying, the best thing to happen is for somebody to make you laugh, to, like, get you out of that, that funk.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe it is, maybe you're right. Maybe it's just a personal preference thing. Maybe you would have enjoyed these jokes coming in at this time, and maybe just I didn't. And that's what I was trying to ask myself and my friend that I saw it with. I'm like, is it just a personal preference thing for me, or was this movie not executed correctly? And I don't know that
What did your friend think? Same thing with the
tonal
problems?
kind of agreed with the tonal problems, but we both overall liked it.
I think you were influenced by your friend. I think if you went by yourself, you'd be laughing your ass off.
No, I would. No, I don't think that's it at all. No, because there was plenty of moments where she laughed, and I was like, not for me. And the other people in the theater laughed, and I was like, well, I get the joke here.
But isn't it about like a fictional murder? Like, if it was about like a real murder and people were making jokes, I'd be like, okay, that might be inappropriate. But It's like a fake story to begin with, so it's almost
Sure, but
okay to make jokes.
I guess I don't know. I think it's. I'd love to have you see it and see what you think, because if you after you watch it you still had that opinion, then okay, fine. I guess maybe it just didn't work for me.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Oh yeah, but like that's and you might be right, but I don't know. There was just some times where I was like, huh, and then I'm like looking at my watch, and then it kind of got interesting again at the end, and.
Well, now Woody Harrelson described the movie as Super Troopers meets Seven Psychopaths, so that's
and I think that's a problem.
Weird mix.
It's a weird mix because it's like.
It was meant to be funny then.
But here's the thing. They meant it to be funny, but then they also put in these really heavy things in there, and it just didn't fit. Like, it either needed to be more jokey or more serious. Like, I think they didn't find the right balance, is what I thought. I just felt like, because it's like, I was laughing in the beginning when she's just going around just fucking cussing everybody out. And then it's like, all right, let's get into the reality of what this woman.
Because she's a real character.
Right.
Yeah.
She's a real, and you felt, and her anger and her ball busting and her swearing at everybody and calling everybody cunt and all this stuff is funny, but you're also going, she's in a lot of pain. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm sitting there in the beginning of the movie going, I'm excited to kind of get underneath why she's like this. I'm assuming they're going to show me that because they're introducing, like, if the filmmaker and the writer, whatever, they're going to introduce all of these things, then it's sort of, I feel it's on them to kind of, to stick with that if you're going to introduce that. But I don't know. I get the feeling like people are going to have a very, like, people are going to disagree with me on this. And some people...
You saying that makes me want to watch the movie more. The fact that you said there's jokes in this tragic story. Because sometimes when you're in a time of tragedy, what you need are jokes.
Maybe it works. Maybe some people really like that. And I'm curious to hear what anybody who's listening...
It's definitely getting mixed reviews.
Something so tragic as your daughter being raped and killed, it's like, how else can you deal with life, you know? Like, you're just... While you're watching the movie, you're probably vicariously living through her going, what would I do if that happened to a daughter that I had? And going around cussing everybody out and calling them cunts is probably the most therapeutic thing for her to do.
But that's what I'm saying. That is great and makes sense, but there's other jokes, and I don't want to reveal too much, that are done in the movie that just seem out of place. They don't seem like the cathartic thing that you're talking about.
Like character-driven line.
I agree with the cathartic thing. I agree with two people in this shared thing, and then they find a joke in the middle of this tragedy. I feel like somebody would do like a bumbling... you know, it's hard to... I'm trying to think...
You also think it's wrong when people give funny eulogies?
But again, that's within the context and the character of it. Yes, I would love a funny eulogy, but if in the middle of a funeral, somebody's just like, wah, wah, like it didn't fit, it didn't celebrate the person's life, like it just seemed out of place at times. It didn't seem character driven. It seemed like
someone doing time at a burial,
like a writer. Yeah, exactly, like a writer put in a joke in this scene versus it organically coming out of how these characters would be interacting with each other within this context. That's the thing I had. It was just so like somebody went, oh, this scene's too heavy, joke it up. And I was like, that's why I felt like it was a script thing. Because I didn't, it's like, to use the eulogy thing, that's a great example. So like I've been to some at the Improv for some comics, right? And sometimes comics will tell a funny story about the person and it relates, but then I've seen some comics go, oh, I'm going to do time here because I'm on stage, and they're missing the point of celebrating this person's life. And
really?
Oh, fuck yeah. Are you kidding me?
Oh, my God.
Yeah. When I went to Scott Kennedy's one, it was awesome. Everybody told really funny, amazing stories about Scott. It was such a great way to honor his life. But then I saw, remember, it was Franz. There was some comics just.
I remember. I was at that one.
And I was just like, really? They were just like.
Franz?
Fran, Bud's old assistant.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, and there were some comics there that didn't care, didn't have any personal connection to anything, didn't want to express that. They just saw as, oh, I'm getting time at the Improv.
Yeah, in front of all these industry people.
In front of these industry people, and I was just like, oh man, are you guys really horrible?
So,
I don't know. I want to hear anyone out there listening to this that has seen this movie or will go out to see it. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So email us on Facebook or whatever, because maybe maybe
I think that's the movie people are gonna watch the most out of all the ones we talked about.
Yeah, these other ones, I don't want to see any of the other. I mean, well, your documentary I want to see. That sounds interesting. The Esther that you saw, I want to see that. But
No.
train,
Skip the ones.
train beards or whatever.
Yeah. Skip train,
Accents on the rails.
Skip train, mustache, and Monday.
All right.